Part-time activist. What is that like?
My parents are human rights activists.
Why part-time?
Part-time because, you know, my parents are human rights activists, so I had no choice but to do that, you know, like make a change, like trying to make a change, like I had no choice.
I am an activist for the LGBTQ community and also for the planet.
You're a generational activist. You have no choice.
Yeah, I have been peer pressured to do activism because everyone who sees me since childhood, they're like, "Oh, your parents are activists. You must be really proud," which I am. But then they are like, "Okay, you're gonna do the same. Like you're gonna make the change, the next generation." And I'm like, "Yeah, yes, I know."
What does an activist do, if I can ask, just as a dumb guy? Because I would picture like the Avengers coming in, swooping down, and blowing shit up.
They like do the rallies, you know, and they work for children's right, women's right, you know, all the minority right. And it's actually kind of sad and fun. Like the work is fun, but the stories and the people and their problems, pretty sad. They are really sad.
Like, I want to be an activist, but I want the clout. Like, I want to be able to sell t-shirts that says "Save the Planet" and have a picture of me on it. For $5.99.
See, I respect the $5.99. See, you fit in Los Angeles.
My parents are way famous than me, and I work in entertainment business. But if you Google my name, all you could see is my Instagram page, my Twitter, my Facebook info. But if you Google my parents' name, it's crazy. Like they are on Google. Like if like that like they have a lot of articles and news, and oh my god, they're always on television.
What's it like growing up in a dynasty? Because I know, like, the Queen of England, you're like Princess Charles. You are born into all of this. All you have to do is do one tweet, and you are now super activist.
Oh yeah, it is, you know, it is kind of like a plus point because, you know, this is what recently my dad told me. Like my dad just came up to me and he was like, "Hey, you know, the all the media people, all the reporters, they've started noticing you. So make sure you do all the nice work." And I'm like, "Okay, you know, they won't find the bodies if that's what you're concerned." And
we call it the paparazzi. I love paparazzi.
Anything happens in the country, they just want to know our opinion, like my parents' opinion, and now recently they just also want to know my opinion. So and that's what they show on news. They're like, okay, their opinions, and then there's a debate on our opinion. So that happens.
I think for me, my dad was wanted to get into sports, and he was a boxer. His boxing name was Bounce, and also he loved heroin. He loved shooting heroin more than boxing. So my legacy is more, I think, fighting for drugs. We need more drugs. We need more drugs. More help. I think that's my. What's it like with growing up with very liberal parents?
Oh, it's annoying. It's super annoying. You know, because I see, here is the thing, when I am pansexual, I'm part of LGBT community, and I have never been closeted, okay? I've never been closeted because the moment I was confused about my sexuality, I told my parents, I was like, hey, guys, I'm confused. And they were like, okay, let's find out together. And when I found out I'm pansexual, I told them, I was like, hey, I'm pansexual. And they were like, okay, And I'm like, okay, I needed some drama, like be happy for me, be excited for me, or, just be angry, like do something. So, yeah, it
Like,
sucks when your parents want to support you in everything.
they're super supportive. I'm still looking for a closet to hide in. All right, on that note, let's start the show.
Asian women are highly fetishized in our society, especially by white men.
The Oriental woman has always held a certain fascination for you Caucasian men.
And one of the roots of this problem is the lotus blossom stereotype, also known as China doll or geisha girl.
She says she's very happy to belong to handsome captain. She says she's gonna serve you well.
So what does this stereotype consist of? The lotus blossom is quiet, docile, and submissive to her male partners.
I will love you, Asa, if that is your desire.
Sometimes also called the lotus blossom baby, she projects a hyper-feminine, baby-like innocence, playing into the male fantasy of being the lotus blossom's white savior, while Asian men are desexualized and removed from the equation.
Me so horny. Me love you long time.
This notorious line of dialogue from Stanley Kubrick's 1987 film Full Metal Jacket both reflected and perpetuated that association in a lasting way.
Me so horny.
She'd be like,
Oh, me so horny. Me love you long time.
The innocent lotus blossom is the flip side of the deceitful dragon lady,
My vengeance is inspired tonight.
who weaponizes her sexuality for nefarious purposes. But both tropes perpetuate the overt and excessive sexuality that has long been linked to Asian female characters. In short, the lotus blossom trope portrays Asian women on screen as objects of desire, but ones which are disposable.
Get out! Be a prostitute! I should have never touched you in the first place. I can get 10 like you in 2 minutes.
For many in the Asian community, Tuesday's attack was a culmination of a narrative in which Asian women are hypersexualized and fetishized.
Certainly in the movies, there's lots of talk. You see the massage parlors and, happy endings. I actually went for a massage the other day and I got a happy ending. They had a buffet afterwards, so it was really nice. So that was good, but I don't know. I know you were talking about activism before, and I really want to talk about my issue of activism that I'm working really hard on. I'm working hard on getting rid of the Kardashians in the world. So please join my activist website. That's all I have to say on the topic.
Unfortunately, I noticed that sometimes this stereotype is being perpetuated when we have like Asian comedians representing us, like for example, Ali Wong. And she kind of come across as quite aggressive and very highly sex and all. But I will say from my point of view, not all Asian women are as horny as her. Yeah, so I noticed that. Yeah. So it's more like, because we are moderate. I think in the bedroom there's different story, but when Ali Wong performs in her special and all, people were like, wow, okay, so whatever that people talk about women being what I call like sex icon and all, that kind of stuff, for sexual fetish and all, it's kind of true in a way. Yeah.
It's different if you say it versus a white man talking about Asian female sexuality and so on and so forth. But that is how the white man does it. They sexualize and tell you what you are. That goes outside of Asian culture and any culture, name it.
Me, I was the object of, treated as an object for when I was in my dating phase, and a white male would say, I want Puerto Rican. And I pretty much was not exactly like the film. I was like, but I have a brain. I know what he wanted, but I couldn't provide everything that was in his fantasy. it's almost like a fantasize. You fetishize the idea of whatever you think the stereotype is.
When does it change from, like, hey, that's my type to, okay, that's my fetish? Like, where does this, like, where's the line? Where to draw a line?
That's really interesting because I've dated Asian men, and it really was, you come from a place of, this is how we're alike, this is how we're different, and we respect each other's culture, and we're different, but we find where we are like.
Fetishes need to be cancelled. But the second thing I want to point out with cancelling, first of all, Ankur, you're getting cancelled. You're not Asian. You shouldn't consider yourself to be Asian, okay? You're Indian. Okay. There's a difference. There's a difference between being Asian. No, you can't. There's only one thing. There's only one thing. You have both, you're getting cancelled.
Choose wisely.
Yeah, choose wisely. Red pill or the blue pill. But speaking of it, what I mean to say is the definition of Asian, well, if you think about it technically, it's basically people belonging to the continent of Asia. That's what people think of it. But in terms of culture, India, although belongs to the continent of Asia, isn't considered Asian, because Asian relates to all of the Chinese, Japanese, Korean, all of those. I think that has been the umbrella term for Asian. So I don't think like considering ourselves as Asian, Ankur, would be cultural appropriation, which is avoidable, which is cancelable, as a cancel cop would say.
Killing Eve is a show that I watch, and it's a modern version where I think the woman becomes a serial killer. She's funny, she's strong, she's vulnerable. I want to see real people on the screen of all races, but particularly, I think that's the modern movement. I'm going to take up that umbrella in my activism.
Absolutely. I want to see real serial killers on the screen. Give everyone a chance to be a murderer. That's what I say.
Serial killers have always in the past been white people. We also need a chance. Ankur needs a chance to be the serial killer. Ankur, I can see the serial killer in your eyes.
Don't blow up my cover.
This week was a very challenging week for me. Whenever I see a mass shooting on television.
Opening fire and injuring almost 30 people on a subway train in Brooklyn yesterday. Police finally caught up with James earlier today after he himself called in a tip that led them to New York's East Village.
I asked myself, oh my God, what color was he? Because if it's a white guy, it's very traditional. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. If it's a Puerto Rican, I get nervous. If it's an African American, I'm like, oh, that's novel. That's different. We had a African American shoot up our subways with bullets and gas, and it was like, oh, I didn't know how to feel.
And while the manhunt may be over, there are a lot of other important questions that still need to be answered, especially since James left hours and hours of video evidence behind. Videos like this extended rant.
I've noticed that my numbers have been going down, on YouTube here recently, maybe over the last couple of days, because, they had been staying pretty steady. I don't get that many views anyway, and I don't care. And I know they got me hemmed up, but it's okay.
Well, I thought it was interesting when the shooting first occurred, they didn't want to say what his color was. I don't know if you heard that. So they said, we're looking for a 5'5" heavy stock man. That's what all the news stations looked at. So after receiving 1,232,000 reports, they then had to say dark-skinned man. I mean, it is what it is.
That's actually a quote, dark-skinned male.
Right. Which I didn't know what it was, so like, is Henry a dark-skinned guy? I'm a dark-skinned guy. You know, and what was weird is they really want to find this guy, but they refused to say what race he was.
Yeah, give me a clue. Give me a clue.
Give me a clue, please. What am I looking for?
Do you have to be culturally sensitive to a person who's trying to commit mass murder?
Right.
Because I noticed how careful you were, Henry. The African American. Okay, if anyone wants to use the N word at this time, I think we may want to consider this moment.
And then when the news stations finally said he was black, they go, a black gentleman. It's like, no, someone who shoots up a subway car is not a gentleman. Thank you very much.
Like, how is it so easy to like kill over there or like have a weapon? Because in India, you know, it's very difficult to get a weapon. Trust me, I have tried. No, I have not. Do not take that seriously.
That's a different type of activism. Yes. I need a gun to take care of this job.
But like, yeah, like I know the rules because because I know. So what in India, what they do is they give you a gun and they count the bullets. Okay, so they give you bullets and they count it.
Yes, I remember you told me that. I want to count bullets here as well in America. If we change one thing, forget about, you know how many guns we have? 1 million guns for every person in America. 1 million. That means we can go to war with the rest of the world and take everybody out. We have that many guns.
That's why I have a gun, because I want to get an American visa. That's the quickest way. Have a gun, get a visa.
Yes. You're ready to check that box.
Yes. In India, you know, even cops, the gun that cops get, they also get the bullets like counted, like, you know, they get limited bullets and they have to like report like why did they shoot, what happened, where is the missing bullet, was it necessary to shoot? So even cops have to do that.
I think if you count bullets, that would make me a much more efficient criminal. Because I'd be like, I can't shoot this one. I got to save it for somebody else. Oh, this is the right bullet. No. Not that I'm a criminal. I don't condone any criminal activity. The guy that did this shooting, by the way, I won't say his name, but he had more views on YouTube. He had a YouTube channel where he did rants, more views than I did. That is cancelable.
Asian male characters in film and TV have long been sidelined, emasculated, and denied the chance to have romantic or sexual relationships, consistently desexualized on screen. And this has directly led to the damaging widespread perception in US society that Asian men are less masculine or sexually desirable.
I did read somewhere that the people that do worst on the apps are Asian men and black women.
Well, it's great why people finally have an advantage somewhere.
Here's our take on how the asexual Asian trope has been used to spread stereotypes of Asian men in real life, and why it's more important than ever to move past it.
The problem is when you make fun of them in a secondary role where you don't explore their whole lives.
They're two broke girls who don't like Asian people.
Yeah, they're cancelled.
But like every Hollywood series is like that, like the Big Bang Theory, the like out of all the nerdy losers, somehow the one Asian guy is the loser of all. Like he is the most, like the biggest loser out of them.
I mean, I'm a little older, and I remember those movies like Foxy Brown and all that. They were like the exact opposite of what we're talking about now. They were like more equality bending movies.
But see, some of our best stories come from us writing our own stories, because I noticed that people say, and they don't represent us. Well, maybe that's for the best, because like, who is it? Kumail Nanjiani wrote his own story, and that was a hit. Bruce Lee stopped taking parts of like these kind of demeaning characters. So it's like, and even John Leguizamo, when people started writing for themselves, that's when we have the most interesting stories.
All I have to say is, have you seen Asian men? They are so cute and so hot and so awesome. Like, come on, they are
Fetishizing.
nothing. I'm Asian. I can do that. I'm allowed to do that. Okay, you guys.
Every actor is representing more than themselves. And I want every Asian man in films to represent that they have a penis. One scene, just that one scene.
That Asians may have the smallest of dicks, but they have the largest of energies. So don't.
Yeah.
I'm getting cancelled for that. I'm getting
You
cancelled.
are getting
Yeah.
canceled.
I'm
Yeah.
As an outspoken conservative, she's been a Fox News guest many times.
Right now, we have an epidemic of crime in this state. My problem that I have here is with the NCAA, really going all the way up to the Olympic Committee. Well, I support Joe Rogan. I like his show. He speaks his own mind. This used to be a free speech country before we got into this cancel culture.
She's so invested in politics that she even threw her hat into the California governor race last year.
Boy, the ball started rolling really fast. We are like becoming officially a campaign with,
Oh my
look at this, Caitlin for California.
Though her run was unsuccessful.
And I was able to assemble a great team, great group of people, and I have to thank all of them.
Thanks to Caitlin's new gig, she'll be back on television discussing the issues most important to her.
Well, I'm just shocked that she didn't win the election because I've seen you guys voting for Trump.
Caitlyn Jenner she is a hard Trump supporter, and probably scary that she may one day become the first female president.
Yeah, no. I mean, I can't think
I trust
people.
you guys. No, I trust you Americans. You guys will make it possible.
Yeah.
I actually think it's really interesting how we all talk equality and everyone wants to treat everyone equally. But I think it's fascinating when someone thinks outside the box they're supposed to think, like a Black conservative, or everyone is all uproar about, people should be able, like I have known, believe it or not, a lot of the gay people I know have been Republican. So I mean, are they betraying their gayness by being Republican? Everyone should be able to, I don't know, vote or feel what they want. We shouldn't transcribe what someone should feel or what someone should belief system because of their race, gender, ethnicity. I mean, and I think that's the next step we got to get to as a culture. If we really want equality, we got to stop being angry at Black conservatives or white, because that's where equality is. Everyone should be able to think independently on themselves and make their own decisions.
A Black conservative is the opposite of a boner.
She's not part of the transgender community. She stepped in after being an Olympic athlete and after demeaning and defacing many people in the LGBTIA community and ethnic people. And Bruce was all around just a crappy person. So I don't care. Put on lipstick on that pig. She's still a pig.
For me,
No, I still say this is the greatest country in the world. And if you don't like it, you can move to another country like California.
I kind of think that it doesn't matter whether a person is queer or straight, because I kind of think that if you're an asshole, your sexuality doesn't matter. It's just that. It's that simple.
Well,
yeah.
Touche.
Some people like asshole.
I let Henry take that line. I wasn't touching that.
Take it. Take it.
What do you think's happened to gay people? Let's talk about that for a minute, because it's not fun anymore. It's moralism. I have to tell people how to live. It's very hard for me to take balls out of my mouth and then tell people how to live. I don't feel like it's my job. I like going to Florida and eating shrimp. But now people want me to go to libraries and talk to children and help them realize who they are. It's not my job, and I don't care.
It's really sad. Like, whatever is shitty and cringy and repressive and weak about liberal politics, it finds its like lowest point, like its zenith, in gay institutional politics.
Right.
When gay politics was subversive by necessity.
Harvey
it was
Milk.
Radical. And
yes.
Interesting. Yeah. And like Larry Kramer and
Sure.
like AIDS activism.
Yes.
And,
Andrew Sullivan to a degree as well.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Andrew Sullivan was kind of like, ironically, the sort of like trying to be the Catholic conservative.
You need a
priest
gay
of gay
conservative.
culture.
That's why I like Caitlyn Jenner. You need someone in the community that just really likes the country club.
I believe he's conservative, but he's a conservative I can take. I would have doggy style with
You know, we're complicated beings. We're not just our race, our sexual orientation. We're a lot of things. I mean, I remember a gay friend of mine saying, you know, I care about taxes. I pay taxes. So he was very financially conservative and voted that way. And I think that's the other thing, you know, we create all these terms that, you know, so many people walk into the voting booth and have no idea who they're voting, and then they just randomly pick someone and suddenly they're the supporter. It's like, you gave me two shitty people to vote for. I picked one. I'm not a supporter of one. That's the only choice I had, you know? So, you know, this is why I don't watch the news anymore.
Even I've seen a lot of people in the community, you know, a lot of my friends, they, you know, every time they're talking about their dates, you know, they're like, oh, he is too dark skinned, you know, oh, he's too fat, he's too short, he's not my type. And I don't get it. I'm like, okay, you guys are like my best friends, you know, they're homosexuals. And I'm like, you guys are homosexuals. You are fighting with your family. You're fighting with your, like, with the whole world for them to accept you for who you are. And then you're sitting here and judging people like, oh, he's too dark. Oh, he's too short. Oh, he's too fat. Like, how does that work? I don't get it.
The main reason to have sex with a conservative is to make them less conservative.
I agree with what Henry said. I have experienced it like my own. I'm talking with my own experience that men, especially like straight men, will do anything to have sex. Like they might even change their thinking. They might change their personality. They might change everything.
Because this thing happened with my girlfriend, you know, when she was seeing people before she met me. Okay, so when she was seeing people, she found this person who was like so nice to her and so everything. And then like it's all on, you know, she met her on Bumble. So he was really great and all. But then the true characteristics come out, and then she understood that this guy is a fuck boy, as we all put it. You know, they change all of their characteristics, emotionally catfishing.
That is sociopathic. Okay, so the thing is, speaking about fuckboy, I used to date one. Yeah. So it's like he is the type of person who can mirror you. So that's why I mentioned about sociopathy as well, because it's like he observed me and he knows like what are the things that can hit my heartstrings, and then he tried his luck and say, okay, you know, I want to like you are a virgin, right? You need, if you want to lose your virginity, find someone you trust to lose it, and I'm here for you, you know, that kind of stuff. But I kind of think, yeah, but I kind of think that because I'm on the spectrum, so I hate physical contact and also I think that helps a lot, you know. It's like, because if not, he would have, I mean, I kind of think that after that he dumped me only in 9 days because he know that he can't get that out from me. Yeah, so because for me, I think I'm also pretty conservative when it comes to relationship. I'm like, okay, I need to date you a while, and then maybe 2 years at least, and then get settled down because I'm a bit old already, and the thing is, he got scared because for him, it's like as a fuck boy, he needs to have sex virtually every day, and to wait for 2 years, that is like equivalent to become a monk, So I think he just like, let's forget about it. Let's go and look for somebody else, And I'm like, oh, phew, hallelujah, good riddance.
2 years. That's 10 lifetimes in the gay community. 2 years.
Yeah,
That's a red
which
flag.
is why the stereotype of like, I mean, I noticed that in Malaysia, people talk about gay people as having no job, just laze around and then just have sex, which is a very harmful stereotype because not all of us are, okay, and most importantly, we pay the taxes, so that is not right to say that we are just having fun, sleeping around, yeah, it's terrible, yeah.
Usually on dates, the guy usually pays, so the woman has a free meal. So not free meal, but the guy pays the dinner. So on a lesbian date, do the girls eat for free?
Well,
Cancel cop, you're treading on very thin ice there.
From Grindr, Scruff, and Jacked to Twitter alts and OnlyFans, sex is almost everywhere you look when it comes to gay culture. And a lot of us in the gay community pride ourselves on being sex positive. But at what point does sex positivity turn into hypersexuality, where guys are searching for sex, or at least the idea of sex, by using the term looking? We've all been there, we all do it, and we also see it all over social media, from half-naked gym selfies on Instagram to NSFW, Twitter alts that promote OnlyFans. Guilty. We even see it in reality TV shows like RuPaul's Drag Race, where a lot of the jokes are based around sexual innuendo. Negativity is the idea that sexuality or sex itself is just bad, like inherently bad. It is often restrictive by nature and puts limits on sexuality and sexual expression. And in US culture, we often think that older people shouldn't be having sex or we're grossed out by it, but that's not really the best or most positive way to develop a healthy relationship with sex in our culture. Gay people, for example, have in the past and today continue to be judged in a sex negative way. Sex positivity encourages sexual pleasure and experimentation. Sex positivity should always feel free and empowering. It's the idea that each individual should be able to explore sex without being frowned upon and in a way that feels good and is healthy to them. Sex positivity means that everyone is able to define what they're into and how they want to explore and incorporate sex in their lives.
Sex positivity. I hear orgies.
So I think sex positivity and what fuck boys do is like a totally different thing.
I'm more relationship oriented. So if we're going to be sex positive, me and you, but if it's sex positive and I have to now go to this orgy on Monday, and then I have to be sex with other people. So sex positive on a one-on-one, I think I'm okay with.
As an old person, my wife and I, we are seeing a sex therapist, and he prescribed me Viagra, and I took it once, not to have sex. I was at a party and I had nowhere to hang my coat, so I took it. So that was pretty much it. But
But I have a question. Why would you take a pill if you were not planning to use it?
Because I didn't have a place to hang my coat. I needed a place to hang my coat.
But I think the reason why LGBT community talks about it a lot is because we are told what to do and how to do and with whom to do by other people so much that when we are talking about it, we are like, okay, this is how we do it. This is how we want to do it. And this is what is going to be happening. That's why we talk. I think that's why LGBT community talks a lot about it. Like a lot of my gay friends, they talk a lot about sex, but that's understandable because, everyone around them is telling them that it's just a phase, sex, like gay sex is unnatural and you should only be attracted to women and you should only do all those things with women. So when everyone is telling you that, they are just like, okay, we're doing it with men and this is how it is done and this is how it is. So I think that's the reason why LGBT community talks so much about sex, is because they're exploring and they're just, talking about it. Like
I do have some respect for the Mormon community. If you're a male, you can have 3 wives. So that takes care of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And if you're poly, then you still have Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a bit much. It's a bit much.
What happened to the old-fashioned slut? Oh, here I am. Oh,
that
no.
was weird.
Not practicing.
Most Asians are polyglots.
That's
When I think of poly, I think of the best aspects of prison sex.
Shit.
If I identify as a threat, my pronouns are try/me.
You know one thing? My pronouns are Your Highness and Your Majesty. And people get all upset about that.
My pronouns are tired queen.
My pronouns is badass. Putting the S in Asperger's, yes.
I like that. I like that.
My pronouns are cancel. Cancel.
I guess my pronouns are please, I'm begging you.
Let me tell you this, I am pansexual and my pronouns are she, they, and I'm like ambivert. I don't have any favorite color or music or musician or movie. I have never made a single decision in my life. Basically, that's what it is. But I am pan, duh.
TMI, Ankur, TMI.